The city was cold. Tall metal buildings touched the clouds. Strange lights blinked in the sky. It was not Earth. It was a planet far away, ruled by aliens. In the center of the city, crowds of aliens walked fast. Their clothes were clean. Their eyes were cold. No one smiled. Behind a tall building, in the shadows, a small figure moved. She was not wearing shoes. Her clothes were torn. Her hands were shaking. She was a young alien girl. Her name was Lura. Lura was digging through trash. Her small fingers picked up old food and broken things. Her face was dirty. Her hair was full of dust. Aliens walked past her and looked with disgust. Ugh! Look at her! Filthy creature! Why is she still alive? But Lura did not stop. She was hungry. She had not eaten for 2 days. Her stomach hurt. Her lips were dry. She was just trying to survive. Suddenly, something hit her. A stone. Go away! Someone shouted. More stones came. Lura covered her face. Tears rolled down her cheeks, but she did not cry out. She was used to it. Then, she heard a sound. A voice. Not angry. Not loud. Come with me. Lura looked up. A man was standing there. Not an alien. A human. He had short brown hair, a small scar on his face and strong eyes. He was not rich. His clothes were old. But he stood tall. Everyone around stopped. They stared at the human. A human? Helping her. Why? Is he mad? The human walked toward Lura. Slowly. Calmly. She backed away, scared. He stopped, a few steps away. I'm not here to hurt you, he said. His voice was soft. Lura didn't speak. She didn't trust him. My name is David, he said. She stayed silent. David looked around. Alien guards were watching now. You can't stay here, he said. They'll come for you. Still, Lura did not move. So David did something strange. He sat down on the ground beside her. He picked up a small broken piece of fruit from the trash. He showed it to her. Is this what you're eating? He asked. Lura nodded slowly. David stood up again. Come with me. I have better food. A warm place. Her eyes were full of doubt. He reached out his hand. No one had ever done that before. Lura looked at the hand for a long time. Then, she took it. Gasps echoed from the crowd. David pulled her up gently. She almost fell, her legs were weak. We have to move, he said. Suddenly, alien guards started walking toward them. Stop! The girl is property of Sector 12. She is trash, one guard shouted. Leave her. But David did not stop. He picked her up in his arms and ran. Lura held on tightly, shocked. She had never been carried before. They ran through narrow streets, dark tunnels, old pipes. Footsteps behind them. The guards were chasing. David turned into a broken door and ran down a hidden staircase. It was silent inside. They reached a small underground room. Dusty, old, but safe. David closed the metal door and locked it. He put Lura down on a chair. You're safe now, he said, breathing hard. She looked around. There was food on a small table. Water. A soft blanket. Why help me? She finally asked, her voice soft and unsure. David looked at her for a moment. You reminded me of someone, he said. Lura didn't understand, but she nodded. David gave her water. She drank fast. Then she ate. Real food. Her hands shook, but she ate everything. For the first time in a long time, her belly was full. David sat in silence, watching. There was something in Lura's eyes. Something he had not seen in a long time. Hope. But just as she was about to sleep, David saw something. A small glowing mark on her arm. It shimmered like light trapped under her skin. He leaned closer. Lura was asleep now, but David was not. His face had changed. That mark, he had seen it before. Years ago. On his daughter. Darkness. Silence. Then light. Soft. Warm. Lura opened her eyes slowly. The ceiling was low and made of metal. Wires ran across the walls. Strange machines buzzed softly. She was lying on something soft. A bed? Her heart began to race. Where am I? What happened? Where is the trash? The cold? The noise? She sat up quickly, breathing fast. Her arms were shaking. That's when she saw it. A plate of food on the table beside her. Real food. Fresh bread. Warm soup. Clean water. She blinked. Was this a dream? Then she heard footsteps. She jumped off the bed and backed into a corner. Fists tight. The door opened. It was the human. David. He was holding a small toolkit and a bag. He stopped when he saw her awake. You're safe, he said gently. You don't have to run. Lura stared at him, her body ready to escape. But she didn't run. David placed the bag on a table and walked over to the food. He sat down and pushed the plate toward her. You didn't eat much last night. I made more. She didn't move. I don't poison people, he added with a small smile. Lura didn't smile back. David waited. After a few seconds, she walked slowly to the table, sat on the edge of the chair. Her eyes never left him. She picked up the bread, took a bite. It was soft, warm. Her eyes widened. David just watched. After a while, she finally asked, Where is this place? My hideout, David said. Underground. Safe. Why me? David didn't answer right away. He looked down at his hands. Then he said, Because no one helped my daughter when she needed it. Lura looked at him. He continued, I saw your eyes. You were scared, like her, hungry, like her, but alive, strong, still fighting, like her. Lura looked down at her soup. Is she gone? David nodded once. Long ago, the council took her, like they take many. Lura whispered, They took my parents too. Silence filled the room again. David stood up, walked to a shelf and picked up a small, broken machine. You're not safe out there, he said. If they find you again, they'll take you too. She looked up. Why? You have something they fear. Lura's hand touched her arm, where the glowing mark had been. That light? She asked. David nodded. Exactly. I've seen it once before. He turned and looked at her. Do you know what it means? Lura shook her head slowly. I think you were born with something rare, David said. Something powerful, but dangerous too. Suddenly, a screen on the wall blinked. A red light flashed. David moved fast. He pressed a button. A map appeared full of alien symbols. He frowned. They're scanning the sector again, he said. Looking for something. For me. Maybe. He looked at her. We have to move. Soon. Lura stood up. I'll go. I don't want trouble for you. David smiled a little. You already brought trouble. But I think it's the good kind. He walked to a hidden panel and opened it. Inside were clothes, shoes, and a small glowing box. He handed her some clean clothes. Get ready. You can't stay Lura the trash girl anymore. She took the clothes slowly. Before walking away, she turned and asked, What do I become now? David looked her in the eyes. You become someone the council fears. Lura was standing in a garden, but not like the dirty world above. This place was full of glowing trees. The ground shimmered like light water. Creatures floated in the air like glowing butterflies. The wind sang songs in a soft voice. She was smaller, younger. A woman held her hand. Tall, beautiful, kind eyes, her mother. Lura, her mother said, smiling. You must remember this place. Why? Little Lura asked. Because this is where it all began. Your power, your truth. She touched Lura's arm, and a soft blue light glowed there. Her mother whispered, When they come, don't be afraid. Find the human with the fire heart. He will protect you. Lura looked confused. But who is he? Before her mother could answer, the sky turned black. Loud sirens. Screams. Dark shapes fell from the sky, ships with red lights. The dream shattered. Back in the present. Lura wakes up, gasping. She sat up fast. Her skin was cold. She looked at her arm. The mark was there, glowing faintly. A thin blue circle with lines around it, like a star or a seal. The dream still echoed in her head. Find the human with the fire heart. Was it David? She turned. David was sitting at the table, taking apart an old alien scanner. Wires and sparks on the table. He looked focused. "You're awake," he said without looking. Lura stood up. She walked slowly to the table. "My mark," she said. "It's not just a scar, is it?" David looked up, eyes serious. "No," he said. "It's not." He pulled a small screen from the drawer and showed her something. Picture. An old photo. A little girl. Human. Smiling. And on her arm the same glowing mark. "That's my daughter," David said. "Her name was Alara." Lura's eyes widened. "She had the same mark?" He nodded. "They called her the Spark. The council feared her. Said she could connect the minds. Bring peace between humans and aliens. They didn't want that." Lura sat down slowly. "She's gone?" she asked. David nodded. "They took her during the raids. I never saw her again." Lura was quiet for a moment. Then she whispered, "I think I saw her. In my dream." David looked up fast. "What?" "There was a garden. Lights. My mother was there. And I think your daughter too. I don't know how. It felt real." David leaned forward. "That mark. It connects people. Maybe you're seeing memories, not just dreams." Suddenly, a loud beep came from the scanner David had opened. He grabbed it, checked the screen, and froze. "They're close," he said. "They're scanning energy waves. Like your mark." He stood up quickly and opened a hidden box. Inside was a small round device, a human tech communicator. "I need to take you to someone," he said. "He's a scientist. He can explain what this mark really is." Lura nodded. "Will he help?" David answered. "If he doesn't try to sell us first." Later, dark tunnels beneath the city. David and Lura moved fast through underground paths. Pipes above, wires below. The air smelled like rust and smoke. Lura spoke softly. "Do you think the council is still hunting people like me?" David replied, "No doubt. But now they know you're alive. They'll come faster." Suddenly, Lura stopped. A strange sound echoed in her ears, like a soft voice, calling her name. She clutched her head. "I hear something." David looked around. "Are you okay?" She nodded slowly. "I think it's a message." David narrowed his eyes. "What kind of message?" "I don't know," Lura said. "But it's not from here. It's calling me." David knocks a special code. The door opens with a hiss. Inside, an old lab, dusty and full of machines. A man in strange glasses turns around. "You brought her?" he asks. David nods. "Yes, and her mark is active." The scientist looks at Lura. His eyes go wide. "By the stars. It's real." He walks closer. "Do you know what you are, girl?" he asks. Lura stares. "You are the last of the Lumini, the light speakers, the ones who can wake the minds." David turns sharply. "What do you mean last?" The scientist's voice goes low. "The council killed the rest. All but her." A tall alien with silver skin and red eyes appears on every screen. His voice is calm, cold, and sharp like metal. "Attention citizens of Sector 9 to 12. An illegal subject has escaped containment. She is dangerous. She carries forbidden energy. She must be returned to the council, dead or alive. A reward of 50,000 credits for her capture. Double if the human is brought with her." The screen shows Lura's face, tired, small, scared, and David's photo next to hers. A silence follows. Then whispers begin. Then weapons are picked up. The hunt begins. Cut to Lura and David running through a dark, stormy street. Rain pours down hard. The sky flashes with blue lightning. Lura's legs are tired. Her feet slip, but she doesn't stop. David grabs her hand, pulls her into an alley. "We don't have time," he says. "They know your face now." "I saw it," Lura says, out of breath. The screens. Everywhere. They're turning the whole city into hunters. Suddenly, a noise. Click. A red dot appears on David's chest. "Don't move," a voice says. From the shadows, A tall alien bounty hunter steps forward. Half machine, half creature. One glowing eye. "I want the girl," he says. David raises his hands slowly. "Don't do this," he says. "She's not what you think." The bounty hunter smirks. "They never are." Lura closes her eyes. The mark on her arm begins to glow. Faintly, then brighter. Suddenly, a pulse of light shoots out. The bounty hunter flies backward and hits the wall hard. Sparks explode from his mechanical parts. David stares. You controlled it?" Lura looks at her hand. Shocked. "I didn't mean to." Later, hiding inside a broken subway tunnel, David lights a small lamp. Lura sits on a box, arms wrapped around her knees. "That was power," David says. "Real power. But it hurt," Lura whispers. "Like something inside me was burning." "You've never done that before?" She shakes her head. "Only small lights. Dreams." This was loud, bright, too big. David looks serious. "If you don't learn to control it, they'll catch you. Or worse, you'll hurt yourself." She looks up. "Can you help me?" David hesitates. "I can teach you to run, to hide, to fight. But this..." He nods toward her glowing arm. "This is something bigger." Suddenly, they hear voices. Close. Alien soldiers. Flashlights cutting through the dark. "We have to move," David whispers. Flash forward. Deep inside the ruins of an old spaceport, they sneak through broken halls, empty control rooms, and shattered glass. This place was once alive, now only dust remains. David stops and pulls out a small scanner. He points to a blinking dot on the screen. "There," he says. "Old lift shaft. Leads to the resistance." Lura nods, but then footsteps. Loud. Heavy. Another bounty hunter appears. Not alone, this one has 4 others with him. David pushes Lura behind him. "No more running," she says suddenly. "What?" David asks. "I'll stop them." "Lura." She steps forward. Closes her eyes. The mark glows brighter. Brighter. Then, a burst of light explodes out. A wave of pure energy. The hunters freeze. Drop their weapons. Fall to their knees. Some scream. Others just stare, whispering words in their language. "She is the light speaker," one of them says. Another bows his head. "We've waited for her." David watches, stunned. Not all bounty hunters were after the reward. Some were looking for her. David leans against the wall, breathing hard. Lura stands quietly beside him. "You didn't run," he says. "I felt something," she replies. "Like a voice inside me said, 'Stop hiding.'" David smiles faintly. "You're braver than me," he says. "No," Lura replies. "You found me in the trash. You believed in me before I believed in myself." The lift stops. A giant door opens. Inside, lights, people, machines, the resistance base. A woman steps forward. Human, strong eyes, worn jacket. "You must be the girl with the mark," she says. Lura nods. "And you must be the fire-hearted human," she adds, looking at David. David raises an eyebrow. "What do you know about that?" he asks. The woman replies, "Your daughter told us you'd come." Smoke floated in the air, glowing softly under yellow lights. Machines hummed in the background. The resistance base felt alive but also tired, like it had been fighting for a long, long time. Lura stepped forward slowly, her eyes taking in every corner. People stared at her. Not with hate, not with disgust, but with wonder. A child whispered to his mother, "Is that her?" An old man made a strange sign with his hands, like a prayer. Lura didn't speak. She felt their eyes, their hopes. Felt heavy, like a weight she hadn't asked for. Beside her, David stayed quiet. His eyes moved across the faces, all kinds of species here. Human, alien, even some he didn't recognize. Yet, no one was running. No one was hunting. They were here for something else. The woman who greeted them before led the way through metal halls. "You have questions," she said without turning. David answered, "A few thousand." She gave a small smile. "You'll get answers. But not from me." They reached a large round door. It opened slowly, revealing a room filled with screens, maps, and one very old alien. Skin like stone, eyes pale blue. He turned when Lura entered. "Finally," he said, "the last light speaker walks among us." Lura stepped closer. "What does that mean? Why do people keep calling me that?" The old alien nodded. "You are the last of a kind born from silence and stars. The Lumini. Long ago, your people kept balance, not with weapons but with minds. You could connect species, heal broken minds, calm entire cities." David crossed his arms. "Then why did the council destroy them?" The alien looked at him. "Because peace is bad for business. Fear makes better tools." He turned back to Lura. "You were hidden after the purge, smuggled into the lower cities. They erased your memory, buried your gift." Lura whispered, "But why me? Why now?" The alien pointed to a screen. It showed the city only not as it was now. This was a simulation. "You carry more than light," he said. "You carry a message." The screen glowed, lines of light moving outward, like a pulse. "You're connected to the core," he continued. "The living system under this planet. It sleeps now, but your mark can wake it." David frowned. "What happens if she wakes it?" The alien was quiet for a moment. "Then the truth spreads. Everyone sees what the council did. Their lies, their crimes, all exposed." Lura stepped back. "If I do that, will they come for me?" "They already are," the woman at the door said. Suddenly, the lights flickered. A voice came over the speaker. Panicked. Multiple signals detected. "They've found us." David looked at Lura. "We have to go. Now." But the old alien raised his hand. "No. She has to finish the message." "It's not ready," David began. "She is," the alien said, looking straight at Lura. "She just doesn't believe it yet." The room shook. Lura stood still, the sound of footsteps above growing louder. She looked down at her glowing mark. "What do I do?" she asked. The alien pointed to a circle in the center of the room. "Stand there. Close your eyes. Speak without words." David reached for her hand. "I'm here," he said. Lura stepped into the circle, closed her eyes. The mark lit up, brighter than ever. The screens flickered. Voices whispered through the room. Not from speakers, but from every direction. Images flashed. Her mother, David's daughter, cities burning, children running, council ships rising. Then stillness. A soft chime. The alien opened his eyes wide. "It's working." Outside, ships began to fall from the sky, not crashing but powering down. Inside council towers, screens turned to static. Across the city, people stopped walking, blinking like they had just woken from a dream. In the resistance base, the machines went quiet. Then, from the main speaker, a single voice echoed. A child's voice. "She is not alone. We are not alone. Remember us." The message ended. Lura opened her eyes, tears on her cheeks. David caught her before she fell. "Is it over?" she whispered. "No," he said, holding her close. "It's just begun." Behind them, alarms started again. The council had heard the message, and they were coming. The sky above the city was no longer silent. It screamed, not with voices but with falling stars, pieces of council towers crashing from above, their control systems fried by the signal Lura had sent out. Sirens wailed. Fires burned in every district. But for the first time in years, the people weren't afraid. They were awake. Some dropped their weapons. Others just looked at their hands, confused, like they'd been dreaming and had only now woken up. In the center of the resistance base, Lura lay still. Her breathing was slow. Her mark had stopped glowing. She hadn't moved since the message was sent. David sat beside her, holding a damp cloth to her forehead. His hands were steady, but his eyes weren't. He hadn't slept, hadn't blinked in minutes. "She's stable," the doctor said behind him, "but drained. Whatever she did, it cost her something." David didn't answer. He looked at Lura like a father watching a child slip away. In his mind, two faces overlapped, Lura's and Alara's. Both taken too young, both burning too bright. He closed his eyes for just a second. Then a voice echoed through the hallway. David, you need to see this. He stood, walked out slowly, one glance back at Lura. In the war room, the hologram screen showed a map, not of the city but of the entire planet. Red lights dotted every region. Council bases, prison camps, outposts. Now half of them were going dark. One after another. The old alien leader stood near the screen. He looked tired, but something sharp burned in his eyes. The message reached them all, he said. David nodded slowly. Then it worked. Not completely, the alien replied. There's one place it didn't reach. He tapped a spot on the map, the central tower, deep in the mountains. A black zone. No signals in or out. He looked at David. That's where they're hiding the final block. David frowned. What's that? The alien's voice dropped. A machine, built to rewrite memory, designed to erase the light speakers not just from the world, but from history. If it activates, Lura's message disappears. Forever. David's jaw tightened. And let me guess, he said. It's already starting up. The alien nodded. David turned toward the hallway. She won't be ready, the alien warned. She needs time to recover. David looked back once. She doesn't have time, he said. In the quiet room, Lura opened her eyes. Dim light, soft footsteps. The woman who ran the base, the one with sharp eyes and an old soldier's heart, walked in. You heard, didn't you? She asked. Lura nodded. I heard everything. The woman sat down. He's planning to go without you. Lura didn't answer. The woman leaned forward. You gave the world a spark. Now it needs a fire. Lura looked at her hands. They were small, shaking. She whispered, What if I can't do it again? The woman smiled. You don't have to. You just have to be there. The rest will follow you. Lura stood. She was still weak, still unsure. But she stood. By the time David reached the launch pad, the old transport ship was already warming up. He was surprised to see her there. Lura, wearing a patched jacket, face pale, but standing tall. You didn't think I'd stay behind, did you? She asked. David looked at her, not as a child, but as something much more. I hoped you would, he said, but I'm glad you didn't. They boarded together. No army, no fleet, just one broken ship, heading toward the last lie the council still believed in. Far above them, in the black tower hidden by storm clouds, the final block began to glow red. Inside, machines whispered a single command on repeat. Erase, erase, erase. But something else was already coming for it. And it wasn't afraid. Not anymore. The world didn't change with thunder. Changed in silence. A silence that came after the light. After the fall of the final block. After the machines stopped whispering erase. It began with a whisper of wind moving through ruined towers, with children pointing at the sky, where the council ships no longer floated, and with old enemies sitting in the same room for the first time in generations. No one really saw it happen, but everyone felt it. In a small garden, built on top of a crumbling human skyscraper, something bloomed. Blue flowers, the kind that used to grow only on Lura's lost homeworld. No one planted them. They just appeared, like memory returning. David stood there alone, leaning on a metal railing, watching the petals move. The sky was clearer now, the city quieter. But inside him, storms still lingered. Footsteps approached behind him. He didn't turn. He didn't need to. It's been 3 weeks, he said. She's healing, came the woman's voice, the former resistance leader, now a symbol of the new order. David sighed. She gave everything. Again. She changed everything, the woman corrected. David looked down at the streets. There were murals now, symbols of the mark. Lura's face painted in soft lines, with light in her eyes. She never asked to be that. Do they know she was just a girl? He asked. They know, she said, but they don't care. They don't follow her because she's powerful. They follow her because she believed when no one else did. David nodded slowly. She's awake now, the woman added. She asked for you. The room was quiet. Medical lights dim. Machines soft and slow. Lura sat up in bed, wrapped in a blanket too big for her. Her mark was no longer glowing, but it pulsed now and then, like a heartbeat. She looked at David when he walked in and smiled, weak but real. You missed the light show, she whispered. I saw it, David said, pulling a chair close. The whole sky lit up. She chuckled softly. Did it work? Better than you think, he said. There was a pause. One of those rare, peaceful ones that didn't need to be filled. Then she asked, what happens now? David leaned back, looking up at the ceiling. Now, we rebuild. We teach. We stop running. And maybe, he looked at her again, maybe we start telling the truth again. Lura nodded. I like that. She looked toward the window. Outside, 2 children were drawing on the wall with chalk. One drew a star. The other drew a hand holding another. Lura smiled. I thought I was alone, she said. You weren't, David replied. You just hadn't been found yet. She looked back at him. You found me. In the trash. He shook his head. No. You found us. Buried in silence. Forgotten. You reminded us how to feel again. She leaned against the pillow, her eyes growing heavy. One person, she said, voice fading. One voice can change everything. David stayed by her side until she slept again. Later that night, the stars above the city pulsed gently. A new satellite blinked to life, carrying the full message Lura had sent. It would orbit forever, whispering across space. Not to warn, not to fight, just to remember. We were here. We mattered. We chose kindness. And someone chose us. Somewhere, on a distant world still ruled by fear, a child looked up at the stars. And for the first time in their life, they didn't feel alone.